drinking has gotten out of control in your life and you're wondering what to do, I'm going to suggest maybe you go to an AA meeting. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a little about what AA meetings are like. Okay, that's what I'm going to talk about. My name is Terry G. If you could take a second, can you please subscribe to my channel? Take another second and hit that like button. I just want to start off with this before I get in, move further with the video. If you're feeling apprehensive about quitting drinking, you have fear, you're hurt, you got a lot of guilt, and you're really kind of confused, and you're sort of doubting doing something about your drinking, that's normal. That's really normal. I know it was for me. Okay? I know it was for me. Most of us don't stop drinking because life is good. We won the 649. No, it's not like that. Or we won some draw or something. Most of us have quit drinking or done something about our alcoholism because life is getting pretty rocky. It's getting pretty hard to live with or without the alcohol. So I just want to put that in there first, okay? You're not alone. You're not alone. So when you go to your first meeting, what can you expect? Well, the first thing I wanted to say, what you can expect, that Alcoholics Anonymous is not a cult. It's not a cult. You've heard people, oh, they're a cult. Yeah, they're a cult. They're going to transform your brain and you're going to turn into a religious crazy person. No, it's not at all like that. Alcoholics Anonymous can be portrayed as religious, but it's not. It's a spiritual program. That's what it is. And it's based on a higher power. There's a lot of God talk. I understand why people would think it's kind of religious or maybe culty, because there's God talk. People's higher power is God. And some meetings to this day say the Our Father at the end of the meeting. But it's not a cult. It really isn't. It's a 12-step program based on spiritual principles of helping people live one day at a time without the use and abuse of alcohol. That's exactly what it is. When you go there, just keep an open mind, okay? Just try and keep an open mind. That's all I'm asking you. Keep an open mind. So when you first walk into the meeting, there's probably going to be some people at the door, and they're going to welcome you. They're going to say, "Hey, my name's Fred. Hey, Joe, how you doing?" Right? You can say hello. You can tell them you're a newcomer. You can tell them this is your first meeting. Whatever you want to tell them, you can tell that person that. They will welcome you. They'll give you a little brief directions. It's good to tell them that you're new. They'll give you some brief directions, like there's the coffee pot. Grab yourself a cookie or a sandwich. Go and sit down and relax. And that's basically it. Nothing is going to be expected of you when you go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Nothing. There's a couple different types of meetings. If you're just curious about AA, go to a speaker meeting. Speaker meetings are generally open to the public. Anybody can go. You can bring your girlfriend, your family, whoever you want, you can bring with them. They don't have to be alcoholics. They can just go. What's going to happen at a speaker meeting? There's going to be a couple people at the front. There's going to be a co-chair and a chair, somebody running the meeting, somebody doing the co-chair stuff, announcing birthdays, telling upcoming events. That's what the co-chair does. And the chairperson runs the meeting. They pick people to read the 12 traditions, read the steps, read how it works. And every group, they're pretty well the main ones. Every group has different readings that they do. And then they'll pick somebody to do the chips, and they'll pick somebody to do the slogans. Okay? So the chairperson up front basically runs the meeting. They are not the boss. They are a trusted servant. They're volunteers, and same with the co-chair. What's going to happen after at a speaker meeting? It's exactly what it is. Somebody's going to come up and speak. And usually what they do is speak for about a half an hour, and they're going to share their experience, strength, and hope. Okay, what it was like drinking, what their recovery was like, and what their life is like now. So that's basically what a speaker meeting is. It's you can go there, you can get a feel for what Alcoholics Anonymous is. You can see how it is, but the main thing is keep an open mind. Try not to judge the person. I know it's kind of hard. Try to identify, and just remember that nothing is expected of you. Nothing. The other kind of meeting is a closed discussion meeting. These meetings are only open to alcoholics. All you have to do in those meetings is have a simple desire. You don't even have to admit you're an alcoholic. Just have a simple desire. And these meetings are basically the same start as the speaker meeting that I just described. They have all those readings, chairperson, co-chair. Everybody sits in the front like they would at a speaker meeting. But the only difference is they break down in groups. So you might have one group talking about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, another one talking about the traditions, an open topic. Like they talk about sobriety, how's your day, that kind of thing, open topics. There are closed discussion meetings. And those meetings are only open to people that have a simple desire to do something about their drinking. They can be pretty serious at times, or they can be pretty light, but basically you have to have a desire to do something about your drinking. Okay? It's really, you shouldn't really bring your wife to those meetings, or your girlfriend or your husband who doesn't have an alcoholic problem. You have to sort of leave them behind and go into these meetings. And again, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit there and listen. The main thing at the beginning of all this journey of recovery is just show up. Just go to the meeting, lower your expectations, block out what other people have said or any sort of prejudgment you've had, and just go and get a good taste of what the meetings are like, because you may be surprised. You really may be surprised. Most people at these meetings, when they find out that you're a new person, they're going to come over and identify themselves to you. They're going to say, my name's Joan, my name's Jack, all that kind of stuff. They're going to suggest you get some phone numbers, that kind of stuff. And they're just going to be nice to you. But again, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. No one's going to take your phone number or follow you home or, jam something down your throat. They're not going to do that. Another thing is that at the meetings, if you want literature, everything at the literature table that you'll see there, everything basically you can bend that are pamphlets are free for the taking. Hardcover books or, keep it simple books or as Bill sees it, the big book, all that kind of stuff you have to pay for. And if you don't have the money, usually you can go up to the chairperson at the front of the meeting and ask him if you can have one, or you can pay it on installments or pay it next week. Okay? So that's about the literature. But the thing is, I just mentioned the big book. The big book is basically the big blue book or Alcoholics Anonymous text. That is basically what the whole movement or the whole way of life when it comes to non-drinking comes from. It comes from the big book. That was the first written correspondence, literature, publication Alcoholics Anonymous ever had. That was the very first one. And to this day, it's basically the same text. The first 164 pages are the same as they were. And I think it was 1932 that they started Alcoholics Anonymous. So I would suggest you get that book, and you might want to get the 12 and 12. And what the 12 and 12 is the 12 steps, the 12 traditions in a bigger definition of them. They explain them more. You hear a lot about the 12 steps when you go to the meeting. And those 12 steps are read at the first of the meeting. They read the steps, they read the traditions at the first of the meeting. Maybe I didn't say that at the start, but they do that. And they're only like the small parts, like the Cold Notes version of it. But the 12 and 12 explain everything in detail. Another thing is, there's no dues to pay. If you're broke, you don't have to pay any money. Alcoholics Anonymous has no dues or fees. Okay, well, sorry, we have dues or fees. But if you don't have it, it's okay. You're still welcome to go to those meetings. Some people that come into programs such as Alcoholics Anonymous can't afford it at the start, but you're still welcome to the coffee. You're still welcome to the cookies. You're still welcome to all of it. You really are. So it doesn't have any dues or fees that you have to pay. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. They are self-supporting through our own contributions. And that's all I like to say. But if you have $1 or $2 or $5, put it into the basket. That'd be well appreciated. The last thing I want to bring up is anonymity. Anonymity is really important, especially especially at the beginning, right? Because a lot of us come in pretty broken. Some of us don't tell anybody that we're going. And for God's sakes, we don't want people walking around telling other people outside the meetings what we're talking about or who we saw there, right? We don't want to do that. So we protect your anonymity like you protect ours. What you see there and what you hear there stays there, and it's really important. It really is. Some people, it's so important to them, they'll drive 50 miles or 50 kilometers from their house to go to a meeting because they want to get recognized. And I get it. I get it. But over time, you'll feel more comfortable in your own skin and you won't really worry about that as much, hopefully. But at the beginning, for sure. And especially if you're a doctor or a lawyer or somebody like that, anonymity plays a gigantic part. There's actually meetings in Alcoholics Anonymous that are especially for the professional sector, so they can go to their own meetings, like lawyers and doctors meetings, for their, make for sure that no one blows their cover. There's meetings like that. There really is. There was a meeting here in Ottawa that used to be just for judges and lawyers, and they used to go to these meetings. I would forget what it's called, the Vagabond Group, or I don't know what it was called, but it was like a private meeting. But they went there and they stayed sober for many, many years because their anonymity was first. That's one of the main things that they thought about when they sobered up, and it was really important, right? It was really important because, like it or not, a lot of people still think alcoholics are weak people. Like it or not. They may not say it to your face, they may pat you on the back and say, what a golfer getting sober, but they may still think that, hey, when the chips are down, you're going to lose it. You're going to go back out drinking. Another last thing I like to bring up is sponsorship or mentorship in the program. When you go in the program, you're going to hear people talk about sponsors, okay? And if you get a sponsor, they'll call you the sponsee. And the other way around, you'll be a sponsor and you'll have a sponsee. Getting a sponsor, I wouldn't worry about it for the first little bit. I really wouldn't. If you get one the first meeting or the first couple of meetings, kudos to you, congratulations. But sometimes it's better just to take your time a little bit. Maybe find somebody you can talk to at the meeting that you feel comfortable with, and you don't really have to designate them as your sponsor. Maybe just take their phone number and call them up. But it's always recommended as soon as you can to get a sponsor, and that sponsor will help you work on your steps. They'll guide you through Alcoholics Anonymous, like the whole structure about it. There's a whole bunch of different structures outside the meeting that carry the message worldwide. They'll help you with that, the traditions. They'll help you with, doing your fourth and fifth step. You'll hear more about that in there, but I'm not going to bother you with all that. But the main thing is that, and I want to leave you with this. The main thing is you owe it to yourself to do something about your drinking, especially if it's causing difficulties. Alcoholics Anonymous is just one avenue. They don't have the corner on recovery, but it's been around for a long time. It's proven. You'll feel, there's fellowship. That's after the meeting. They go for coffee. You feel a part of something, and you'll get lots of support, and you'll start to lift, or it'll start to disintegrate that feeling of isolation. And it's one of the programs that's been around, like I said, for a long, long time, and it's got history. And you know something? Your odds of staying sober one day at a time in AA are very, very high. Work the program, work the traditions, help other people, find a higher power, and keep going, and you'll see that your life will change. Unequivocally, your life will change, okay? So that's it, folks. Go to a meeting, keep an open mind, try it, don't give up. Give it at least 30 to 90 days before you can get a hang of it, before you make any big decisions. Because, old habits die hard, and drinking habits die really hard. So go to 90 and 90 if you can. I've never done it. I never went to 90 and 90. I just had children. I had a job and everything, but they're going to suggest that to you. Just go to as many meetings as you possibly can to help yourself get better, okay? Okay? My name is Terry G. This is an alcohol-free life channel where we learn to live sober one day at a time. Ciao for now. Subscribe, like button, comment. I'll see you next week, and thanks a lot for stopping by. Bye-bye.